And welcome to Hannity. And tonight we are nearing the end of a transformational month in the Washington swamp. Now, to say President Trump hit the ground running hard, that would be one of the greatest understatements of all time. And not only is Trump fulfilling his promises to all of you, the American people, even fake news CNN, our friends, they pointed out Trump has remade the American electorate. Republicans are now surging in the polls. Democrats are hitting record lows. Congressional Democrats, one poll now at a near 22% approval rating. And Americans of all walks of life are finally coming together. Remember, all that unity that Joe Biden promised, well, President Trump is actually delivering on that promise. Now, even Teamsters President Sean O'Brien, the Republican Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, well, they buried the hatchet 2 years after this wild confrontation. Take a look.
If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on. Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution every poll?
No, sit down.
I love a good fight, hockey fight, politician fight, whatever. Anyway, coming up, both Senator Mullen and Sean O'Brien, who you saw there, will be joining us with more on how President Trump is uniting the country. Also tonight, buckle up, our old friend, famed Democratic strategist James Carville. He will be here. Democrats, they'd be smart if they listen to people like him. I can predict with a pretty high degree of certainty they are definitely not likely to do so. Needless to say, we have a lot of questions about the sad state of affairs in his own party. First, why do they keep humiliating themselves in public? This morning, 5 Democratic lawmakers showed up in front of the FBI headquarters in D.C. for a pathetic-looking protest against Kash Patel. And after shouting into a microphone to a non-existent audience, Kash Patel was easily confirmed. He is now the FBI director. Mark my words, Kash Patel, he is the guy that will restore the FBI to once again become the world's premier law enforcement agency and eviscerate the Bureau's political weaponization. The left was always powerless to stop this nomination. But like every other performative stunt we're watching in D.C. from the Democratic Party in the past few weeks, this morning's protest was pointless. It was sad. It was pathetic. So what are the Democrats thinking? Take a look.
I'm going to try out a new chant for you, all right? How about this one? Hey, hey, RFK, hands off the FDA.
We do have to, I don't swear in public very well, but we have to Trump.
Elon Musk is seizing the power that belongs to the American people. We are here to fight back.
We'll fight against DOGE. We'll fight Elon Musk.
You get your musty hands off of our money or put a mouse down. You mustard moon.
I say Trump. Donald Trump and Elon Musk.
We will win. We won't rest. We won't rest.
Welcome back to the 1960s. Instead of trying to find common ground, work with President Trump, Democrats, they're just throwing these weird temper tantrums and chanting and opposing everything that Donald Trump's doing and saying. You know, no matter what, as I said last night, if Donald Trump cures cancer, they will still hate him. A vast majority of Americans want Donald Trump to secure the border, deport criminal illegal aliens. We have known terrorists, rapists, murderers, cartel members, gang members. What? Democrats are against that? Why? A vast majority of Americans want to ban men from women's sports. Democrats are against that? Why? A vast majority of Americans want DOGE to clean up waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption in the federal government. Democrats are against that. Americans want smaller, more efficient government. They want a balanced budget. They don't want to steal from their children and grandchildren. Democrats, they're screaming and yelling against these cuts. The list could go on and on. In fact, just this week, the Democratic Party's rising star, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, even came out against Donald Trump's proposal to give a portion of the DOGE savings, your money, back to you, the American people. According to Crockett, $5,000 checks, they're not going to do anything for anybody. Take a look.
Now, President Trump says he likes the idea of giving some of the savings from DOGE back to Americans as kind of a dividend. Would you support that?
Listen, he's just telling a lie. Right now, what they're going to do is say, hey, we want to give you a refund, but Congress won't let us because they already know that there's just no money for that. So, no, we are not in the business of giving out money. And honestly, I don't know what $5,000 will do for you if you are unable to find a job, because I am telling people we are headed towards a recession.
We've been in one anyway. I don't know what world she's living in. Americans, $5,000 is a lot of money. Over half the country, if they had a $1,000 emergency, they don't know how they can handle that. That's scary. Democrats hate Donald Trump. Now they hate Elon Musk so much that they're now furious about the effort to reduce waste, fraud, and abuse abroad, not even in our own country. What are they spending the money on? Their radical, Green New Deal, their woke DEI, transgender proms abroad, tens and tens of millions of wasted dollars. That's your money. That's your kids they're stealing from. Remember, it wasn't long ago. James Carville, his former boss, Bill Clinton, other top Democrats, they vowed to cut government waste and fraud and abuse and run government more efficiently. They even pledged to cut entitlements to illegal immigrants, just like Donald Trump. Let's take a trip down memory lane.
This report tells us how to cut waste, cut red tape, streamline the bureaucracy, change procurement rules, change the personnel rules, and create a government that works better and costs less.
By paying for these plans, first with cuts in government waste and efficiency, second with cuts, not gimmicks, in government spending.
We'll prove that we can spend the money we have in an appropriate way and stop wasting so much of it.
But over the next several months, we will be looking at every other agency and program, asking the direct question, do we really need this agency? Do we really need this program?
20 years into a period in our history where most American wage earners are working longer work weeks for stagnant wages. It is outrageous for the government to have rules and regulations which take those people's money from them and spend it on things that cannot be justified.
One of the commitments that I made to the American people was that we would do a better job here in Washington in rooting out wasteful spending.
What happened to that Democratic Party? How did they veer that far radical left? How did they manage to adopt every insane position ever proposed in Washington? Because while Democrats are chanting and they're marching and they're screaming into the void, President Trump is getting big things done day after day after day. Take a look.
We will not allow men to beat up, injure, and cheat our women and our girls. From now on, women's sports will be only for women. Waste, fraud, and abuse that's being uncovered by DOGE. They're finding levels of fraud and waste and abuse like I think nobody ever thought possible.
I want you to know that I am not a hero in this at all. And President Trump is a hero.
I'll tell you what, I think really reciprocal tariffs, those two words, reciprocal makes tariffs really fair. Here's the good news. We have the most secure border we've ever had right now. As secure and even more secure than I had it 4 years ago. And the Border Patrol is doing incredible. ICE is doing incredible.
Refreshing. Promises made, promises kept in record time. This is what you, the American people, voted for, and this is what Donald Trump is delivering on, all while the Democratic Party looks pretty unglued, pathetic, and absurd. So where do Democrats go from here? And will common sense ever return to that party?